So do we have any connections with Hardwick Hall because of the name being Kirkby Hardwick Manor? Well, we do. We've got connections. And down there on that side is where the Morn and Erewash source springs are. And in the horizon you can see King's Mill Hospital and Mansfield even further down. It's pretty up here. Some different cogs on these. Didn't really notice them in the past. They've all got numbers on them. All got numbers. And obviously it went down there, as we know, but we're not following it all the way down. So more or less here, just after where my wife was the end of a line as well, and we'll show you the shunter. Also here was Kirkby, well, it was called Summit Junction, okay? It was called Summit Junction, where the Great Northern Railway kept going in that direction towards Emma Pennyway, and other lines went across that way, including the lines that came from the pits, and they all went in that direction, up towards where the pit tip is now, which I'll show you today. There used to be a magazine up there. Again, if you don't know what a magazine is, I'll tell you when we get there. Basically a shelter for where they stored things, gardening stuff, etc. And in that direction as well is where we end today, where Sutton Parkway station is today, was where there was the Midland Railway line, which we saw earlier. It's just all covered in railway lines around here. And the Kirkby Hardwick Manor site. There's like a interchange there of the lines I've just seen, which could indicate to me that's where the junction was, right here. Yeah, that is probably where it was, because there's like a line going across this way. I've just spotted just here. Can you see that? Which actually, that will probably be the one that's on this side, will probably be where there's a shunter, because there is a shunter down there, which is the end of a line. That is true. That is actually true. Can you see here how it crosses over? Gonna find out the exact names of these things. They have all got different part names. I know that. You can go across this way. Is there another way through there, babe? I'll go to have a look. So this would make sense then. I never really noticed this last time. I wasn't that interested. But that's definitely a junction there. That's where trains bear off in different directions. Railway lines. And now we're still on the Great Northern Railway. So this is the Great Northern Railway line here. So behind there again, to situate yourselves, was the Midland Railway line. That bit of land there had all kind of different lines coming out of it, as was this part here. But there was an end of a line here. Now we can't see, this is all overgrown here. There's one post here indicating something. We are going to go in there, but further up, because further up there is where there was many other lines. There was many coming out the colliery. Many. At different angles. So at the moment we can just see the Great Northern Railway line. But we can also see the other line. I can see it here on the left hand side. Here is the side of it. Or is it? Has this been put here? Yeah, right here. So we've got another railway line here, which is most probably the other line. The one that ended over here. So I've never really noticed that before. I really haven't. But it's a great find. It really is. I'm sorry that my shadow is in a lot of it. But as we carry on going through, even though I said we weren't going to follow the Great Northern Railway line, we have a little bit of it. It's just here. But I do want to show you where the end of the line. The end of the line. And here it is, guys. Just here. So that bit there where it's Summit Junction. This is the end of it. Voila, like the French say. Right here. Right here. So it's crazy to think that this whole area here had more railway lines, isn't it? Obviously they were mineral lines. Some of them went across there down the side and then they linked back onto the Midland Railway line. Others went up here where we're going now. There's a magazine at the top there. Well, there isn't now. And then at the other side of the hill there was also rail lines that went all the way up. But I believe this is called a pit tip. And I believe there wasn't a hill here in the past. This was all created after the collieries. And I've come up this path because I've been up another path in the past which was quite steep. And I've told to come up this one which is less steep. So we'll do that. My wife's just spotted some red brick. Yeah, there's quite a bit of it. But you've got to think, like Nigel told me earlier, this was the pit tip. So everything that was chucked away from the pits all landed in a big heap. So brickwork and all sorts of things would have been piled up here. Again, something I didn't know about before. It's good to do research and it's good to talk to locals who know more about the area. Not just come on videos like I used to and just look for stuff without knowing what was here and try and guess it. I know, I can hear him. Ice cream van in the background because it's nice weather. So, here we have it. The top of the hill. Now I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm not even going to show you, but basically down there's a big dip. And that's where I tried to get up last time. But it does show you down there as well how this was the pit tip up here. Right, more or less where we are now. There used to be a magazine. As I say, not a cartoon. It was like a little shed where they had like garden stuff where they collected it and kept it. It was more or less around here. We don't have to go across that way. We can go around it and not go right to the top. Can you see again the alignment of the trees? This is so important, like at Kingsway Park in Kirkby and Ashfield. The alignment of the trees. Behind the trees is where the Midland Railway line went. It's hard to think though, right here where we are, there was railway lines that crossed here along the top, which wasn't the top, but along this area of land. And maybe I've seen things in the past and I thought, that's not possible, that's not right information, but it is. This was all part of the pit tip here. So it would have been flatter here, and that's why they went through. They ended around here as well, they went back down into the colliery, which would just come through. I like it up here, it's nice. Nice view, we like our views. You could say there's nothing to see, maybe not, but still nice up here. We are getting very close to where the perimeters of Kirkby Hardwick Manor was, where that tree alignment is as well, just behind there. And down there on that side is where the Mourne and Erewash source springs are. And in the horizon you can see Kingsmill Hospital and Mansfield even further down. It's pretty up here. I'm looking for a bench that I thought was here, but I can't find it. So, just spotted something else. Can we see this building here? This building, yeah? Where it's got like red ship containers, not ship containers, I don't know what they're called, but them container things. Right there is where there was a sand pit. And there was a tram line, because I thought it was a railway line. There was a tram line that came out of there, went across, and we can still see a little bit of bridge, like a little wall, which I'll show you when we're walking back down on the outro. There was a little bit of wall there, but the actual sand pit was right there at the back of there, and there was a tram line that went from there and came across here and joined with the lines that were up here. I say again, up here. Here. They were here. There was a few lines that ended here. But I wanted to remind people that, because someone said to me on a local, I think it was on Facebook, they said to me, oh, there was another line. There was a tram line somewhere. I said, really? And look at old maps, and they were right. The tram line was right there. Hopefully I put a little emoji of a arrow. It was right there, behind that bit of land down there. The sand pit was there. And as you know, they're making another new estate over there. In fact, it's not a new estate. They're building some buildings in connection with the college that's there. We've got some animals up there. Some birds. What we got here? What are these birds here? Are these kites, maybe? Kestrels? Not sure, but it's nice to see birds like that flying about, enjoying themselves. That building you can see there now is more or less the site where Kirkby Hardwick Manor was. However, you can see an outer wall. That's what I want to show you. That outer wall there is the perimeter of where it actually was. I don't know if you knew, guys, but now we are part of both National Trust and English Heritage. We are members of both of them, meaning we got loads of places to see. It's going to be absolutely epic what's coming in the future. We have been waiting a few months because we've been ill. We've both had different kind of health issues. So we have been ill, and that's why we've not done anything for a while. I'm going to show you first where the source of the River Mourne is and the source of the River Erewash. So right here, guys, right here, which I always wondered what this was, we've got both river sources right here. So we've got the River Mourne, and it's quite big here, the River Mourne actually, but it's also the Erewash. They both link up together here, and as I say, the Erewash goes that way, down there towards the quarries in Kirkby and Ashfield, and the Mourne goes towards Sutton near Idlewells, and then it goes to Mansfield and further afar. So that's a little bit of information there that is quite useful to know. So the perimeter wall was around here, and you can still see bits of wall, but this bit here has been trenched out, so you can't go down there, but you can see little bits of here because it was right here. Dating back to the 13th century, there is a house there now on the site, but it was literally around here. And we're going to go back to where my wife is and walk down that side, but I just want to show you the whole area where we're spanning here, because there's Sutton Parkway station down there. Okay, just to situate yourselves, that's Emma Pennyway there. The building we can see on the left here, this little one here with the triangular roof on here, was the barn, but the whole site was here. Kirkby Hardwick Manor has a bit of history behind it because of it was here obviously in Tudor times. The perimeter wall is right here where we are here, and you can see a bit of it through there, which I'm going to show you now. Along here there's also gardens and stuff linked to it, so we're going to show you exactly where it was. And as I say, it was here in Tudor times. There we can see the wall just behind here. Often called the Lost Manor. We can go right in. Look at that. Look at the old manor right here. That is incredible. What a find. But there you have it. The old manor wall. I'm going to touch it. It might bring me some luck. You know what they say. There's another little turret over there actually. Just behind there. Wow. That is old, isn't it? Lovely, lovely find, and we can walk along there, so I'm going to do that as well. I can show you. There we are, the old Kirkby Hardwick Manor, and where we have it, walking along the side of the famous manor. So yeah, it does have connections with Hardwick Hall through the Earl of Shrewsbury, and of course the Cavendish family. I'll just make sure I don't fall over here anyway. But this is fascinating that we found this. This is really fascinating. But I wouldn't have got through here if it wasn't for the people who have come here recently excavating the land. And here we have something again, a brick here. It says something there about Kirkby and the Butterley Company, and here we have something else that's been put here in place to do with the old manor. Look at that. Wow, that is epic. Wow, that is an amazing find, guys. We have found it. We have found it. What about that? Nice. I'm really impressed with that find. Now that we go to see a lot of National Trust places and English heritage, this is old Tudor, medieval brickwork, medieval manor that was right here in Sutton Parkway station, right here in Kirkby in Ashfield, or beginning of Sutton, whichever way you want to call it. But here we have it, right here, the old Kirkby, again, Hardwick Manor. That is my highlight, that we found that. That is brilliant. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant way to finish this video series that we've done today here. Well, we found it. We found it, and we walked along the old railway lines, and we saw the colliery, and that just about finishes our video in this area. We've done a hell of a lot of videos in Kirkby and Ashfield area and in Sutton, and we will go to Sutton Junction and we'll do more videos down there. But that is a truly epic way to finish a video finding this old manor here.